Hi guys, hi everybody. We are back with another one. Welcome to everyone who is new. Make sure that you click the subscribe button to join the fam. And a big thank you and shout out to everyone who is already part of the family. So today we got a good one. We're talking about budgeting and why is it important? Like you hear people talking about, oh, you have to budget, And it's like, yeah, why though? So there are three main things that I just want to quickly touch on in regards to budgeting. So budgeting, first of all, is not a bad thing. I know sometimes you hear people talking about, oh no, I'm on a budget, or that's not in my budget. And some people immediately think that that's just a nice way of saying you're broke, sweetie. If you ain't got no money, just say that. But I don't believe that by being on a budget and budgeting your money is a bad thing. I believe it's one of the best things that you can do for yourself and your finances, because it means that you are in control of your money and you are in control of what your money does, right? That's number one. So budgeting is not a bad thing. I want you to get it in your head. Budgeting is not a bad thing. Say it with me. Budgeting is not a bad thing, right? The second thing I want you to understand is that budgeting helps to keep you accountable, right? So if you know that you've allocated a specific amount of money to a specific purpose and for a specific reason, and then you find yourself out and about, and then you're like, hey man, ke budgetile, which means that I can only spend this amount of money on this item or on this activity, and then that's it. If I can see over it's going over, then it's chai. Stop right there, time out, right? The third thing is that it helps you track your spending. I know I've experienced this sometimes where I get money and then I use my money, right, for miscellaneous items, and then after a while I'm like, hey man, there's 33 rand that's missing. What's going on here? And then I can go back to my budget and see, oh yeah, by the way, I actually spent this amount of money on whatever it may be. So you know exactly where your money is going because you're telling it where you want it to go, right? In essence. So those are three quick things that we need to understand about budgeting. It's not a bad thing. It helps to keep you accountable to yourself and it helps you check your spending. So if you haven't been budgeting all this time, I want you to do something that most people find this very hard, is to take out your bank statement. So get your bank statement for the past 3 months, and I want you to take stock. So write down all the things you spend money on in the last 3 months and the amount, right? So the item, let's say it's internet data, and let's say you spent about 500 rand on it. So go through everything and even write down the bank charges, because you'll be surprised. Sometimes you'll be very surprised at how much you spend on bank charges and you didn't realize. So write all those things down. The second thing that you're going to do is you're going to categorize all these different things, right? So you've taken your stock, you've written down all the different things you spend money on over the past 3 months, and then you're going to categorize them. So there's 3 main, maybe 4 main categories that I usually use to see where my money is going. The first one is needs. So those are essential things that you need to live on a month-to-month basis. So things like groceries. If you went out to eat, that's not essential. It's a want. But we're going to get to that just now. It's toiletries, Wi-Fi or data, petrol or Uber, transportation. Those are some of the important things. Other people that are not living at home are paying for rent and electricity. Those are things that you need on a month-to-month basis to sustain yourself. The second category is wants. So wants can be a bit tricky. Like there's a fine line. But wants are things like going out to eat. You don't need to go out to eat, guys. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Going out to eat is not a need. So if you spend money on takeout or whatever, put that under wants. It's not a need. And then there are other things like subscriptions, leisure activities that are wants. Those things are not necessarily things that you need. Those are just things that you do because you want to do them. And then the third category is miscellaneous items or unexpected expenses. So things like a miscellaneous item would be maybe a gift, it would be like a donation. Maybe you donated something to a specific charity. That's a miscellaneous item. And then in terms of unexpected expenses, that would be things like paying for, maybe, I know sometimes this happens with me when my medical aid only pays a certain amount and then I have to cover the rest myself. So that would be something unexpected. Maybe repairing or buying items that broke throughout the month or things like that, those are all your miscellaneous and unexpected. So you can also split those into two, so that makes category 3 and category 4, or you can just put them in one. So now that you've done all of that, right, the next thing that we're going to do is our calculations. So you know how much money you're bringing in on a monthly basis, right? You know what your income or your allowance, your salary, your whatever, pocket money, whatever you call it, you know the amount of money that is. And now you're going to calculate your expenses, so everything that you typically spend in a month, right? I'm talking about your needs, your wants, your miscellaneous items, and your unexpected expenses. So you're gonna calculate everything that you would typically spend in a month, right? And I want you to look at it honestly. Look at that number honestly. Now that you've calculated everything, and you look at your expense number, you look at your income number, yeah, and you can see, oh no man, I'm overspending money here, and that's not a good thing. So now that you have looked at those two numbers, you see how much you're bringing in on a monthly basis, and you see how much you're spending on a monthly basis. And most of the time you look at the amount of money you're spending and you're like, but this is way more than my income. And then you ask yourself, how? Because I take stock quite often just to make sure that I'm reaching my goals and what have you, and where I'm making mistakes and things like that. But we'll talk about that in a separate video. I'm like, no man, how did I end up spending more money than what came into my account? Like, that makes no sense. But sometimes it happens. So you need to ask yourself, am I living over my means? And if that's the case, then you need to do step number 4, which is you need to downgrade your lifestyle a little bit. Just a smidge. Just a smidge. Like, don't attack me. Like, hear me out. Hear what I'm saying. The reason why I'm saying that sometimes you need to downgrade your lifestyle is because most people go through this where the money doesn't take them to the end of the month, right? It takes them to like week 3, and then it's like, and then from there, when it's like 17, when it's like 20, you start asking yourself, when is payday? And that's when you have to realize that, hey, I'm living way above my means. There are certain things that really you don't need, especially if you want to change the trajectory of your finances. And I like to also look at it from a different perspective, to say, if you have less money and you don't know how to manage your less money, how are you going to manage more money? Like, it don't make no sense. If you think that, no, when I have more money I will manage it better, you're lying to yourself. Because when you get more money, you inflate your lifestyle, and when you inflate your lifestyle, it becomes tricky, and then you keep on needing more money, but you keep inflating your lifestyle, and it keeps on getting tricky. So the point is, now let's work on building good money habits, so that when we get more money, we can be better stewards of the more money that we get. Cool. So ask yourself the difficult questions. Ask yourself, are there certain activities that I can cut out maybe for a month or 2 that don't necessarily need, my attention right now? I can see it in like after 3 months, or I can see it when I have better hold of my finances. That's step 4, is see where you can downgrade your lifestyle just a smidge. Don't fight me. I'm saying this out of love. Step number 5 is to use a Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet, or any kind of spreadsheet that you have access to. Use that to put in the parameters of what your budget is going to start looking like. So remember we spoke about the necessities. So the necessities are always at the top, and make sure that your necessities are always covered. The other option is to use budgeting apps. I use two methods. I use the 22/7 budgeting app, and then I use a numbers spreadsheet on my laptop to put in those parameters. So I use them together. It helps me to know my numbers, know how much is coming in, know how much is going out, and it also helps me to stay true to myself. Remember, in one of the other videos we spoke about trying to keep up with other people, and I have to be honest with myself and say that this is not for me right now, but maybe in a month or two I can go down that road. And then a bonus is to start saving a little bit of money every month. We spoke about that in our how to save on a low income video, and I'm gonna add it in the cards. And if you haven't watched that video, it's a good one. You should watch it because it's inspiring and it gives a few tips. The last thing, step 6, is to do a budget review. So before you get your next income, before it comes in, like maybe 2 or 3 days in advance, you're gonna sit down and go through your budget and say, okay, did I stay true to myself? Did I spend within the parameters that I've given myself? Or did I go a little bit overboard? And if you stayed within your parameters, I want you to clap for yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back because you've done something really wonderful. If you did go overboard, don't get discouraged. Just encourage yourself and say, you know what, I messed up a little bit this month, but next month I will get it right. Remember that discipline in any area of your life takes time and dedication. That includes being intentional about your money. It's not something that happens overnight. It's something that takes effort, and it's something that takes energy. So be encouraged. If you didn't get it right this time around, it's okay. You have so many opportunities. Just get up, start again, and keep going. Don't stop. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have not already subscribed, make sure that you press the subscribe button and join the fam. I hope you have a blessed and a beautiful day.